Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are talking about finding special cases using binomials. So, just as a recap, binomials would be things like ax squared plus bx times dx to the third plus bx, or something like that. If you want numbers, because I know you guys do, it'd be 2x plus 4 times 3x plus 7, or something along those lines, where we have two terms and we're multiplying it by another two terms. And as you guys told me, you really like the box method. You can use the horizontal, vertical method. Both of those are fine. But there are certain things that we find in algebra that are just patterns. And so what happens if I have, let me change the color for this one, and I'm just going to put this in letters first. So if we had a plus b squared, we would end up with whatever a is squared plus 2 times a times b plus b squared. Okay, so let's put this in with numbers. For example, 3x plus 4. Okay, so in this case, this is my a value, this is my b value. So this means it would be a squared, so 3x squared plus 2 times 3x times 4 plus b squared. Now once I simplify this, because this is not simplified, 3x times 3x gives us 9x squared. 2 times 3 is 6, times 4 is 24. And then we have that x, and then 4 times 4 is 16. And this is our final answer. We can't simplify this anymore. And that's it. This is how, when we're multiplying with an addition of a binomial, this is how this works. Okay? So, now to practice, I want to give you one and I want you to try this. So try this one. So this is one of your try-its. So 2x plus 3 squared. I'm so sorry, I forgot to put the squared here. So go ahead and try this on your own. This only works with these types of things where it's squared. Go ahead and pause, give it a try, come back, and then we'll do this together. Okay, glad you paused it. So again, I'm just going to label this is my A, this is my B. So I'm going to take that 2x in parentheses, square it, plus 2 times our A value times our B value plus our B squared. So 2x times 2x is that 4x squared. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So this would be that 12x plus 9. And you should have gotten that answer. So we're just kind of following this formula. Okay? Now, it's not different when it's a minus sign. And I'll show you how it's not different. I know you guys are thinking it is. But Miss Curtin, what about this? Give me a second. So, let's say we have 5x minus 3 squared. So remember, this was that plus sign, this has a minus sign. So all we're going to do, instead of leaving it as a minus, we're going to change it into that plus negative. So this is really 5x plus negative 3 squared. And so in this case, our a value is 5x, and our b value is negative 3. So we can still use the formula. So I'm going to say, so it's a squared, so that's going to be 5x squared plus 2 times whatever our a value is, which is 5x, plus, whoops, sorry, that was a little too much. So 2 times a times our b, which in this case is a negative 3, so just be careful, plus negative 3 squared. Because remember, we changed it. Instead of having it be a minus 3, it's a plus negative. And just remember, those mean the same thing. Okay, so if we do this, we have 5x times 5x, which gives us 25x squared. And then we have 2 times 5, which is 10, times negative 3, which is going to be negative 30x. And then remember when we do this, this really becomes negative 3 times negative 3. That negative carries with it. And so a negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 3 is 9, positive 9. So we can still do it with these. It's not a big deal. Okay? If you want to, on page 277 under try it, go ahead and try those, and we can touch base later. But let me go over one of the other ones where we have the opposites. And what I mean by that is we might have a plus b and then a minus b, okay? And this really becomes a squared minus b squared. So let's give it some numbers and we'll talk about it. So if we have 5x plus 2, 5x minus 2. Again, if you like the box method, go with it. These are just kind of little patterns that we've discovered in algebra to help you. So what happens, let me just multiply this out so you can see it. So if we have 25x squared plus 10x, because this is, if we were using the box method, or vertical or any other thing, this is what happens, okay? But what you need to notice is this part right here, the middle as I call it. So if I thought this was an Oreo cookie, here's the chocolate, here's the chocolate, here's the cream, but it gets canceled out because we have a positive and we have a negative. So like I have cream in the middle of my Oreo and then someone took it away. So I'm just left with the top and the bottom of my cookie because there's nothing there because they cancel each other. So that leaves us with our 25, okay, sorry about that, that was marker. So that leaves us with our 25x squared minus 4. Yeah, I know. I wish it was a little bit nicer, but we just got rid of all of that Oreo, that good Oreo stuffing. Okay, so let's try another one. Like I said, we're just practicing these. So we have 2x plus 7 and 2x minus 7. So again, I'm going to label my terms to help me. AB, AB, and they're saying a squared, so 2x squared minus 7 squared. So this is going to be 4x squared minus 49. And I see the questions already. You guys were asking, but this is a positive 7 and this is a negative 7. It is, but we're not looking at that right now. The only thing we're looking at for the b is the number. We're not looking at whether it's a positive or negative. We're just looking at that number. This is why it became 7 squared. Okay? And this is how we get that 49. So if you have a square, for example, so let me see if I can, you guys know how I am at drawing straight lines. So if I have a box or a square, let's go with a square. So pretend this is actually square, please. And this side is 3x plus 10, and this side is 3x plus 10. You can use the box method. So if they're asking me to find the area, or, so it can be written like this. 3x plus 10 times 3x plus 10, and this equals the area of our square, okay? Or you can also write it 3x plus 10 squared. And so following our pattern from before, which is that a squared, so it's going to be 3x squared plus 2 times 3x times 10 plus b squared, which is that 10 squared. 3x times 3x becomes 9x squared. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 10 is 60. Be careful. You can't do 3 times, well, you could, but you gotta be careful when you have those negatives. Plus 100. Okay, and so this would be the area of our particular square, because remember, all the sides are the same. Now, the other question that always looms, what happens, again, please do me a favor and remember, pictures are not always drawn to scale. If we have this red square inside, and it is an x by x, I know it doesn't really look like it, so our red square would be x times x, which I know you guys are really smart about, and you already know it's x squared. Okay? So if I'm looking at that, well, the area of the red square is x squared. The area of the green, if we pretend the red wasn't there, would be 9x squared plus 60x plus 100. If we really wanted to figure out the green, though, we would have to take away this red part, because this red one, this red square here, is acting like a hole. So if you had a square donut and you took out the middle part, that's that x squared. So I don't know if you guys have seen it where they take a piece of bread or toast and then they cut out the middle and they put an egg in it. So we want to know what's left of the bread. We want to know what's left. So in order to do that, I am going to have to take this right here and take that and subtract. So I'm going to subtract x squared. So remember, we still have that 100. We still have the 60x. But now, instead of having 9x squares, so instead of having 9 pieces of chocolate, we're taking one of them away, and we only have 8. And that's what would happen if this were our particular figure. Okay? And so this is how much bread would be left if the red part was an egg. Okay? So, along with this, I'm going to give you some practice, and we will be checking this on Monday. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed your snow day, and I will talk to you guys later. Please send me any messages if you have any questions. Bye.